Welcome to CTV News Trendline with Michael Stittle and Nik Nanos.
I think for the Liberals, they're stuck, right? I'll tell you what I think they want to do. I think what the Liberals want to do is to do a massive drive-by smear on Pierre Poilievre. Basically, they'd love to just say, look at Donald Trump, look at Pierre Poilievre. Don't these things look the same? And to attack Pierre Poilievre. There's two problems with it, and I'm sure this is what they want to do. But there are two problems with that strategy. First of all, Pierre Poilievre has been consistent in his style and messaging from day one, right? In terms of his views of truckers, views on vaccinations. So I don't think there's a hidden agenda there. At least, I don't know, unless there's something else, but I don't think there's the type of hidden agenda that the Liberals would like to have. And remember, he has like a double-digit lead over the Liberals with this style of politics. So that's one problem that the Liberals have. The second problem that the Liberals have is, what happens if Donald Trump wins and they kind of try to do that drive-by smear with Pierre Poilievre, telling him that Donald Trump is a terrible person and Pierre Poilievre is a terrible person, and they both have the same kind of politics. Like, how do you deal with the Trump administration if Trump ends up winning? The answer is you don't, and you can't. So there are limitations in what the Liberals will do, because they might try to score short-term political points. But boy, if they do that, that could poison the relationship between Canada and a Trump administration. And if we thought last time when Trump was president was tough, you could imagine what he would think now if we had a sitting prime minister attacking Trump. And the other thing that you don't want to do is to be a factor in the US election where a Canadian prime minister or a governing party in Canada starts making disparaging remarks publicly about a candidate in the United States. So, but they're probably just wanted to do that smear on Pierre Poilievre, but I'm not sure whether it could work, and I'm not sure whether it should be done. And they're going to have to be very careful on both of those fronts.
Nik, while you're talking, I was getting flashbacks to the NAFTA renegotiations. That was a pretty grueling time, I think, for the Canadian government.
Steamroller. We were steamrolled. We were basically told. Now, that said, Chrystia Freeland and Justin Trudeau through that process probably did about as good a job as anyone could have in that renegotiation. But the reality is that Donald Trump decided that it was going to be opened. He decided that it was no longer going to be called NAFTA. And yes, they did accept the Canadian position eventually, but that was a very difficult time. And the other thing we have to remember is that time flies, eh? 2026 is 10 years since Donald Trump was elected president. And then in 2026, my understanding is we'll probably be starting the process of reviewing the free trade agreement again. So the timing is actually quite critical for Canada when it comes to who the next president might be, and the renewal or re-examination of the trade agreement. And Biden hasn't been a friend and a buddy. He's been very nice and polite, much more cordial than Donald Trump. But Biden has been focused on a domestic agenda. And whenever US presidents are focused on a domestic agenda, it's usually bad news for Canada.